Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 943B, and today's date is April 12th, 2016, and the title of the episode is New Report Shows the U.S. is no longer a democracy, it's an oligarchy. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. On the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel, I uploaded an interview with Chris Martenson, so you can go right over to the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel and you can view it there, or you can come over to the X22report.com site. All you got to do is scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, you'll see the video there, or you can go to the newssentinel.com site. Same thing, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, you'll see the video there. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, something is happening in the healthcare industry that is connected to Obamacare. We're seeing a lot of people not taking Obamacare, and we know those numbers are continually declining. And we see a lot of healthcare providers saying, you know something, this is not even worth it anymore, and they're getting out of the business. And we see a lot of people saying, you know something, I can't afford these premiums. I can't afford going to the doctor with these deductibles. And it makes no sense for me to have the health insurance. I'd rather take the penalty. And a lot of people are going for this short-term health coverage. And it's a lot cheaper. You have it for a certain period of time. And we can see that this is not covered by Obamacare. You still have to pay the penalty. But we see this is growing right now because what people are seeing is that I can get this short-term health care and pay the penalty, and it's still cheaper than actually getting a policy from one of the insurance under Obamacare. Because what we're seeing right now is people, they can't afford this. It is very expensive. And I know it's called the Affordable Care Act, but guess what? People are starting to realize that it is not affordable whatsoever. And this whole entire thing, this problem is growing now. And it's going to get worse as time goes on, because think about it. All those people that are losing their jobs, all those people that are working part-time, all those people who can't make ends meet, they're not going out and saying, you know something, let me spend for my family $500, $600, $700, $800, $900, $1,100 on this health care policy. A lot of people are going to take the less expensive ones where the deductibles are much higher, and they're going to be like, okay, you know what? I don't have enough money coming in. I can't even afford that. I'd rather just take the penalty. And we're starting to see a lot of people do this. So as time goes on, this is going to get worse and worse. It's not going to get better. And actually, since Obamacare was voted in, that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing everything flip around, and people are saying, you know what, I'm out. Even healthcare providers are saying, I'm out. So we see the whole thing starting to fall apart. And this was not a benefit to the people. Basically, all they did was got all the insurance companies together and say, listen, if we all band together and we try to get everyone in, we can control the premiums and continually make them go higher and higher. And the way to do this is to say, listen, if you don't purchase it, you're penalized. So most people will hopefully go into the health insurance. But they're seeing the opposite happen right now. We see that 400 people were protesting the role of big money in politics outside the U.S. Capitol. And they were arrested. They were nonviolent. It was organized by the advocacy group Democracy Spring. And the police came in, and they arrested them for unlawful demonstration activity, charged them with crowding, obstructing, and assembling in this area. Now, I thought the First Amendment allowed people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government. So let's read the First Amendment again. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So, right here, the First Amendment says Congress shall make no law which will block any of these things. So the police came in and arrested the people for crowding, obstructing, assembling in an area. Well, there are no laws above the First Amendment. So what do we have here? We have a government that, again, once again, is not looking at our rights, not following the Constitution, and just going out and doing whatever they want. We see a new report out there, and this is coming from Princeton and Northwestern University. It has concluded that the U.S. is now an oligarchy, and it has the people in charge. They have no interest in the welfare of its own people. So what we're seeing right now is the U.S. political system is geared towards serving the interests of special interest groups and organizations. And the definition of oligarchy is a country business that is controlled by a small group of people. And we can see where we are today. Congress, the president, everything they've done is not for the people. Everything that they're doing is not for the people. Everything that they're doing is for themselves, foreign governments, central banks, corporations. This tells us they broke the contract with we the people. That tells us that these people need to be removed at this point. Because this is not a democracy anymore. It's an oligarchy. And once you have an oligarchy, you have this ruling class that thinks everyone below them will do whatever they want. And there are separate laws for us and separate laws for you. And we're already seeing this. We're seeing the government say, you know something? We passed this law. You have to abide by it. And we're going to exempt ourselves from Obamacare. We're not going to follow the Constitution. We're not going to allow you to peacefully protest. So we're going to arrest you. We're going to search your car. We don't care if it violates the Fourth Amendment. We're going to spy on each and every one of you through email, through phone systems. It doesn't matter. We want full access to every single encryption key. We see where we are today. We're back to where the founding fathers were during the Revolution. And this is what they fought for. They fought against a government that was doing the same exact thing. They fought against the central banks, where they've taken control of everything. And we are here once again, where the people will have to come together and once again fight for freedom, for our rights, to remove the central bank, to remove corporations, to remove foreign governments from the government itself. We're coming to a point where the people are going to have to band together. And I'm not talking about 1,000 people. I'm not talking about 10,000 people. I'm talking about millions of us. And people around the country, throughout Europe, Canada, Australia, people know there's something wrong. They feel it. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people are nervous. But they know something is not right. They know that something has gone terribly wrong. I know I feel it. I know most of you feel it. And there will become a time when people throughout the United States, people in Canada, Europe, Australia, UK, we're all going to have to come together. We're all going to have to come together as a people and look at our governments, look at the central bank, and say, we've had enough. We are removing you from your positions. The people now are going to take back the country. We're going to get rid of the central banks. We're going to get rid of all these people that no longer work for the people. And I believe that time is coming. I believe that the people will join together. The people will come together at a certain point. And if we don't, we will be continually ruled by the central bank, by the government, and things will get worse. So we have a huge decision coming. And I hope that we all work together. I hope that everyone says, it's time. It's time to tell these people we don't need them anymore. And they need to step down. Now, out in Europe, we see that the U.S. is planning the largest increase of their military presence in Eastern Europe since the Cold War. And we see that they're bringing in a lot of military assets, a lot of U.S. troops into Europe. And we're seeing that it's going to be about 3 brigades of troops coming into this area. And it seems that the U.S. troops in Europe is going to outnumber all European troops combined at this point. And we've seen this before during Roman times, where Rome, the Roman Empire, used military garrisons to contain local population, just in case they rebelled against the government of Rome. And what happens if one of the countries in Europe decides, you know what, we've had enough, and we're going to stop the sanctions with Russia, and we're going to make nice with Russia? Well, the U.S. is going to be there, and they are going to be stopped. So we're starting to see a lot of similarities happening that once happened back in Roman times. Now, out in Yemen, we are seeing there is a ceasefire. It was effective on April 11th, and we realize that Saudi Arabia, which is the proxy army for the United States government, they've been trying to push the Houthis out of the country. They want the puppet government back in there. And we realize that Yemen doesn't really have that much oil. At least that's what the corporate media is continually telling us. That they don't have that much oil, that, this is not really a big deal in this area. But when we look, we notice something that the media is not telling us. That Yemen does have a lot of oil. It is sitting on a huge amount. And it is situated in a shared region of the Red Sea and offshore in the Sea of Aden. It should come as no surprise that companies like British Gas and even the United States Geological Survey have been fully aware of this oil and gas deposits on the shores of Yemen for some time now. The U.S. GS report from 2002 shows an immeasurable potential, while numerous surveys and exploration offshore show vast reservoirs. So we understand at this point why the U.S., Saudi Arabia need to capture Yemen once again and put in a puppet government. Because they're looking at this saying, okay, Yemen does have a lot of oil, but the corporate media is out there trying to convince everyone saying, yeah, Yemen really doesn't have that much. It's not a big deal. But we're seeing the actual opposite at this point. Now, we know that the U.S. and NATO, they are preparing and getting ready to go into Libya. We know there's a buildup of American, British, French, and Italian agents and officers with reconnaissance and armed drones flying out of bases in Sicily. They've conducted surveillance missions, and they're preparing to go in. Now, Italy, they have 6,000 soldiers ready to march into Libya. They are ready to support these soldiers with airstrikes, and they're going to be flying out of the bases of Sicily. And we already know that Britain, France, the U.S., they've been working alongside the Italian forces. And we see at this point that it's a matter of time before this happens. Now, of course, as we know, they wanted to get the unity government in place. The unity government is going to invite them in, and we're going to see these forces move into Libya. And I think we're getting closer and closer to this point. Now, Erdogan has welcomed Saudi Arabia's King Salman to the presidential palace in Ankara. And this is the Saudi king's first visit to Turkey since ascending the throne early last year. And as we know, Turkey and Saudi Arabia, they are working together to remove Assad. We see the Turkish prime minister. He is out there saying that there will be a day that Aleppo, Raqqa, Homs, Damascus, it will be liberated from the Syrian government. So we know at this point that Turkey and Saudi Arabia, they've set up these chemical weapon stations right on the border. They've been providing the gases to the terrorist groups, the Free Syrian Army. And we see right now that they are continually using them. We see there's a report out there that the Kurdish-controlled district of Aleppo, they've been struck by poisonous gas on Monday. This is the second attack on the suburb. It came from the terrorist groups. We see chlorine gas is being used by the Syrian militants, the opposition groups, the Free Syrian Army. And Russia is out there saying all of these terrorists using these chemical weapons shows that Assad was not the one using it. Because we've just reported that Turkey and Saudi Arabia, they are supplying and creating all of these weapons for the terrorist groups. Now, yesterday we reported how Turkey had special op teams come into Syria, and then all of a sudden we had missile attacks into Turkey, and then all of a sudden Turkey started to shell inside of Syria. Now, they said they were hitting the Islamic State, but what they were really doing is they were hitting and shelling the Syrian government positions in Latakia. Because as we know, Turkey, their mission is the same. Remove Assad. They support the Islamic State. They train the Islamic State. The Islamic State is the proxy army for Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the United States, Israel, the coalition forces. And we see that weapons are being poured in, and we're reaching a new level of fighting in this area. And remember, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, U.S., they're getting ready to launch their next phase, their next plan. Because they cannot have a ceasefire. They cannot have peace talks. And we're seeing all these warnings. Warnings in Turkey. Warning in Lebanon. Warning in Tunisia. We're getting another warning in Saudi Arabia about terror threats. Now, we know Obama is planned to visit the kingdom on April 21st. And the U.S. State Department is issuing a warning ahead of Obama arriving there. They have travel warnings saying that violence, terrorism might be spilling over into these areas. We see Yemen has a warning. Iraq has a warning. So once we start to see all these different types of warnings occurring, we realize, and if we go back to 2013, we go back to 2014, we had the same thing happen at this point where warnings were coming out. And then all of a sudden, during the summer of those years, we saw certain things happen. Sarin gas attack, the Islamic State. We've seen the bombing in this area from the United States and the coalition forces. Now they're getting ready for their next phase. They're ready to go all out. And this is why we're seeing all of these warnings. This is why, even though the Islamic State is being beat in Syria, being pushed back in Iraq, they're losing ground. It's very odd that the United States and the coalition forces are building up the military, bringing in B-52 bombers, getting ready for something much, much larger. And as we go forward here, this is not just going to go away. It's going to get worse and worse. And eventually, I would say in the next couple months, we're going to see this major event. And it might kick war off here. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks. Thanks a lot.